Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Monkey Knife Fight Show here on Sharpside. I'm Turd Ferguson. I'm bringing you some of my favorite props over on Monkey Knife Fight. Haven't signed up for it yet? Making bad life choices. Sign up using promo code Grinders. Get a free 100% deposit bonus. On your first $50, it's free money. All you got to do is play through it and it is yours, and you don't even have to do any research. Just watch these videos multiple times a week, throw in these props, and let the money roll. And got four of them today. Two from the Atlanta game, two from the Pelicans game, so stay tuned. But before I get to that, don't forget to like and subscribe over on the Sharpside channel so you know exactly when these props are coming out. All right, let's get to my first prop here. It's a 2 out of 3 more or less in the Atlanta game. All right, so first off, we got Trae Young more or less in 49.5. 2 of the last 3 games, he hasn't even come remotely close to that. Last game, he played 43 minutes and still barely beat it. Trae is not doing great right now. He's still a great player. He still can put up big numbers, but you just look at it over his last 8 games, and he's just not the same guy we saw earlier in the season. 49.5 is a decent number, and I don't think that he ends up hitting it, even in a decent match. Going up against the Knicks, I'm rolling with the less. Randall, more or less than 41.5. I'm rolling with less. Currently, RG's projections got him pegged for high 30s. A lot of projection systems have him for the same. His minutes are in flux. We don't know if he's going to get 25 or 33 minutes. If he gets 25, pretty much a lock that he doesn't hit his number. If he gets 32, still a decent chance he doesn't. So you take the less in this spot every single time. Last up, Collins, more or less than 41.5. Absolutely going with the over. Look at his game log. 3 straight he's hit it. 7 of the last 8 he's hit it. He is getting over 41.5 consistently. It's a decent matchup. Going up against the Knicks, he's being more heavily involved. He's getting the minutes. I absolutely love Collins in this spot here. He is going to hit over this way too low number, and it's not going to be really close. All right, next up, we have my second prop here. It's a 2 out of 3 rapid fire in that same game. All right, so Trae Young going up against Randall. Randall's getting 8.5 points. Again, his minutes are in flux. I don't know what's going to happen with him in any given game here. It is a good matchup, but I'm rolling with Trae Young, even giving up 8.5 points. Trae should end up in the high 40s, mid 40s. Randall could end up in the 20s. A whole lot of things can go on with Randall. He's only getting 8.5 points. I still don't like Trae a ton in this, but I like Trae over Randall when he's only giving up 8.5 points. It's that simple. Next up, Peyton going up against Collins. As I said, I love Collins, but Peyton going up against Atlanta, pace bump, terrible defense of Trae Young. Peyton should get the minutes here, and he should smash in this spot. Decent shot that he goes over 40 here, and getting 10.5 points makes it a real simple decision for me. I'm rolling with Peyton. Last up, Barrett versus Robinson. Robinson has been getting some decent minutes. It is a good matchup, but Barrett just always going to end up in the high 20s, low 30s range every single time, getting consistent 29 to 30 minutes. He is consistent, getting 4.5 points, while Robinson may end up with 15 points, may end up with 40 points all over the map. I'm taking the consistency with Barrett in this one. I think he wins this one 7 out of 10 times, but the 3 times that he loses, he's going to lose by 20 points against Robinson. So roll with Barrett and just move on. All right, next up, we have my third prop here. It's a 2 out of 3 more or less in the Pelicans game. All right, so you see, I just went more on all of them. This is a 232 total in this game. It's going to be high scoring. Start off with Drew. Drew, over 41.5, easily. Hit well over that in the last 2. 3 of the last 4 he's hit well over that. This is going to be a close matchup, 1.5 point spread. I think he easily crushes in this. The shot attempts have absolutely been there. The points have absolutely been there. This is FanDuel scoring. He can get it done on the defensive end too. Love Drew in this spot. Next up, Fox, more or less than 41.5. This one was close, but I'm rolling with more. It's a pace-up spot versus the Pelicans. 232.5 total. Close game. Like it a lot. Fox has not been doing that well, but he's still putting up close to this number every single game. 35, 41, 42, 39, 38, 42. So he's putting up close to this number, and now he gets a pace-up spot, while a few of these other ones have been tough matchups here. The minutes should be there because this game's going to stay close. So if he gets into the 33, 34-minute range, then he should easily get over this number. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for a close game. Last up, Zion, more or less than 38.5. RG has him projected for 39. I think that he ends up crushing here. Has not done great in the last 2-3 games here, but the shot attempts should be here in this one. Everything should be here in this one. 38.5, too low of a number. I'm rolling with more. All right, last up, I got my last prop of the night. Before I get to that, don't forget to like and subscribe over on the Share Upside channel so you know when these videos come out. But let's get to my last prop here. It is a 2 out of 3 rapid fire in the Pelicans game. All right, so Holiday going up against Fox. I told you, I like Fox, but I love Holiday in this spot here. Again, FanDuel scoring, he can get those stocks. He is putting up the shot attempts on a game-by-game basis. This game's going to be close here. Drew, going to play all the minutes. Going to get over 41.5. They're still going for the playoffs. And I think that he ends up with a few more points than Fox, so I'm rolling with Holiday. Next up, Zion going up against Ingram. This one was a little bit tough. This one, in all honesty, is close here. Slight edge to Zion here. Only giving up a half point. I just like him better. I'm rolling with him, but I'm not going to argue with going with Ingram. Last up, Ball going up against Buddy. Give it up 6.5 points. Love Ball here. Buddy all over the place. Don't know how many points he's going to end up getting. Ball been consistently close to 50 in FanDuel and in Monkey Knife Fight scoring here. So I'm just rolling with him. Buddy could end up with 30 points, but I don't think there's many spots where Ball doesn't end up with close to 40 here. I'm rolling with Ball. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. We'll be back again later on this week, give you some more props. I'm out of here. See you, kids.
Hey, thanks for checking out our videos. If you want more expert advice on DraftKings, FanDuel, or any other daily fantasy sports, make sure you check out the current...
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Grinderslive Coronavirus Edition here today. I am Britt Devine here with Big Will, Chief Justice 06. Will, I don't always take all these things too seriously, but dude, I'm stocking up on soup. I'm staying indoors. There is no better breed of person in the entire world than daily fantasy players to ride out the coronavirus. We're just sitting at home all day.
Yeah, man. And the crazy thing about it is, the coronavirus is going to force people to the Heineken virus and Budweiser virus, Bud Light virus. All of those are going to be in effect because everybody's going to be at home getting drunk, excluding myself. I don't drink. But those are the new viruses that are going to be popping up this week, people, especially for all you DFSers out there. And, we might have a little Dos Equis virus coming upon us as well. So,
what's your take on all these? Right, the NCAA tournament. We got the Warriors. They're playing all these empty games. I think it's probably the right decision, if not just like ending the whole games just outright. What's your overall take on all that?
I actually can't wait to see one of these games televised live with no fans. This is going to be like a live practice with coaching. I can't wait to get the ratings on this. I'm actually pretty excited. They might as well just have it in the practice gym because no one's coming anyway. It'll be like an AAU game for the NBA if everybody knows what AAU is.
Yeah, I see Yasmin in chat. Also, all you guys in the YouTube chat, click the thumbs up. We appreciate it. And I see Yasmin, right? Disney Cruise is going to be shut down. Disney, like Will, you know about my wife and Disney, right?
I know about you and Disney. Don't bring the wife into this.
What would they have to pay you to go on a cruise right now? I don't think you could pay me to go on. I'd have to get paid like $10,000 to go on a cruise.
Listen, I would go on a cruise right now, but what I would do is I would order one of those radioactive suits that they have, and I just wouldn't get out of it until I got my.
Oh man, but yeah, guys, take the Corona thing seriously. Yeah, I think it's real. I think it's gonna spread. Maybe not as bad. Like Italy looks pretty bad, but yeah, be careful out there, people.
Yeah, it's no fun, man. No fun at all.
Want to tell you guys too about a couple things we have going on at Rotogrinders. We have our Sharp Side contest. I don't have my Sharp Side hat on. I think I saw a producer Devin with it. We've got our streak plays today. I picked mine a little earlier, so mine might be a little outdated. If you get a couple of picks in a row, it's 5 in a row. We start paying you out with $10 on FanDuel credit. If you get more, I think it's like 10 or more, you start getting paid more. It's free to play. You got to become a better sports bettor. If you're going to want to continue on in DFS and all that fun stuff a year or 2 years from now, that's where all the sites are going to push it. Get a head start of it on Sharp Side for free. I got this was before the Rudy Gobert news, Will. I had Rudy Gobert. I had the under on rebounds. This dude is trash, and the illness on him, I hope he plays because I really like the under on rebounds. I think it was 11.5. Hasn't in 2 out of his last like 10 games he's hit there. He's really fallen off, and this illness story is great. I told you pre-show, but I think it was the last time he was in front of press, he was sort of mocking about the coronavirus. He was touching all the microphones and breathing on them. Karma hit him today. He's got the illness, so hopefully he didn't catch something. I want the under. That was mine on Sharp Side for today. What do you got over there?
First of all, let's pour one out for Dean. Come on, man. Give Dean his credit. He's got the fish. He doesn't have corona. Rudy Gobert has the fish, people. All right. Shout out to Dean. Listen, man, I'm all over this New York-Atlanta game. Man, usually we don't start out with our Sharp Side plays, but it just flowed right into it after this Corona Rudy Gobert. But Trae Young, man, I'm all over him today. I think we had him at 29.5 in terms of real points. I have it on pretty good authority, if my memory serves me correctly, that he's scored over 40 in both games this year. The Knicks have really struggled at the point guard position overall. I think Trae has a monster game here without question. So I'm taking the over. And in fact, this is my favorite game on the slate. It's been one of my favorite spots to attack since last year, and nothing has changed. I love this game for tournaments.
Let's talk about it. Let's transition right into this game. Let's start spilling the beans. I do want to note we got news. If you were waiting on Joel Embiid, he's going to be in today, guys. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But Will was talking how much he loves this game. Let's talk about it. We got Trae. His ownership's reasonably high on DraftKings. It's basically him, or it's going to be Luka if you're spending up, in my opinion, today. I've got to take on Luka. It's sort of going to limit my Trae Young exposure unless they both happen to be in the same lineup. But what are you liking in this game tonight?
Yeah, man. I think Trae's a big-time play. We got him projected at 22% on DK. I think we got him projected around 30-ish on FanDuel. Yeah, 35. So I'm going to try to be over the field on Trae for sure. And I'm not running a whole bunch of lineups. I'm going more single entry, 3 entry max. So over the field is a little bit more exaggerated. But bottom line is I think I'm going to have him in every lineup tonight, especially because I feel like the ownership on Luka is going to be, probably 20 to let's go 15 to 25% more in most cases, in my opinion. I think that's about what it is. So I'm all over Trae. I'm not as interested in John Collins. Now, on DK, I don't think I would play John Collins at all. On FanDuel, I did kind of reconsider that because earlier this morning, I didn't think I was going to play him at all. Mm-hmm. But on FanDuel, especially, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to stack this game at least 3 different ways. And I'm just going to have Collins in every one of them. And outside of a game stack, I don't think I'll have him at all. But Collins, Trae, and then either Reddish or Hunter. One of these guys is going to get 30 or 30 plus. I cannot tell you honestly which one of these guys is going to have the 30-point game today. But one of them is going to do it. So I think, if you're multi-entering like our good friend, Mr. Britt Devine. You just make a group. You have both of them in there, and you just have one or the other, in your game stacks, and that should fix that problem. I do like Herter. I think he's a lot closer to what his price should be on DK. On FanDuel, he's still around 5K. So I would also be over the field on him. But yeah, those are guys, those handful of guys are the guys I think you need to key in on. And I'm going to be, well overweight. I am going to run maybe, 7. I think I'm going to run about 10 different lineups tonight. So outside of like my 3 and 5 entry max stuff. And I mean, I'm probably going to have Trey probably about 100%, man. I don't see myself getting off of the Trey train and just try to leverage some of this ownership from Luka that I know he's going to have.
What I just did, you can see it, right? So I put Herter, Reddish, and Hunter. I don't think are all 3 of them going to go bananas in the same game? Probably not. So
no.
I put a max of 2 of those 2. That seems good, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I want to go over something too. So Nicole behind the scenes and the team here at Rotogrinders, a major improvement to the CSV upload on Rotogrinders. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up an Excel spreadsheet, and you guys can see it. So before, this column right here, min and max exposure, was not on the Rotogrinders upload. It is now on the Rotogrinders upload. So some of you guys, maybe not, we do have some advanced users of Lineup HQ. If you have your own system that spits out minimum and maximum exposures that you want, you can upload it. It also downloads from Lineup HQ. This is a huge addition to if you're sort of like a power user of Lineup HQ to really allow you to use min and max exposure a lot easier offsite, right, in your own Excel spreadsheets or to download it on your own. I want to give a big prop to the team on this one, a big addition. And if you guys didn't know about it, I wanted to highlight that for everybody because I think that's just the absolute bee's knees for an addition right now. What about the Knicks side, right? If you like all the Hawks, let's sort of go over. I'm going to bring up the game flow of last night's game because I got burnt by Julius Randle the one night I decided to play Julius Randle. He gets hockey line changed.
Oh, man.
4 minutes into the game, right? And then he ends up fouling out. You can't really read too much into the minutes last night, and I think it's going to get like guys like Bobby Portis. I think he's going to draw a little too much ownership today. This whole game was extremely fluky. Do you think you can kind of go back to some of these Knicks players?
Oh man, listen, I already knew I was playing Julius Randle again today when yesterday's slate ended. There was just no way I was going to let that game influence my Julius Randle shares today in pretty much what I would consider an equal opportunity spot. This spot is really no different than what it was last night. So, I mean, I'm right back to the well. All systems go on Julius Randle. I really feel the same way about Elf Payton as well. Elf does have, a few more guards that could soak up his minutes, but I still feel like 30 minutes of Elf Payton against Atlanta could equal a 45 to 50 spot. It's not guaranteed, but I still think he's going to get 30 minutes. I don't think he'll play 18 minutes tonight. So Elf Payton is another guy I really, really like in the spot. And I still like RJ Barrett. Those are the 3 guys I really trust on this team. So Julius, Payton, RJ, those would be my favorites. I'm sure Mitchell Robinson will get some traction. I think, his ownership on FanDuel is a lot higher than his ownership on DK. But so I like him. I don't love him. I'm not going to force him in, especially now that Embiid's in. I'm probably going to force myself to play Embiid and just take the what I consider to be the highest upside play. But I will have a couple Mitchell Robinson shares because, as I've already explained, I will be stacking this game a couple different ways. And Mitchell Robinson is definitely going to be included in some of those.
Yeah, I like Mitch. I still think he's fine on DraftKings or on FanDuel, same price, both sites. Has the ability, right, if you're playing tournaments, wouldn't play him in cash games, but even in 26 to 28 minutes, we've seen in 3 or 2 of his last 5 games, right, has hit the, what I would consider a really good tournament value for him. I like him. He's going to be low owned. I'm actually, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give myself a little over the field. I'm going to give myself 10% Mitchell Robinson tonight. I've talked myself into it. You seem to like it. I'm going to go with that. And I just have, I've X'd out all the Knicks except Randall, Peyton, Barrett, and Robinson.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Why play anybody else? Kevin Knox and Frankie Nicotine and DSJ. Man, please. And why are they still giving? First of all, why are they still giving Taj Gibson 15 minutes? Just let him take the rest of the season off. Let Mitch pick up another 5 minutes a game. Like, I don't know what these coaches are doing. Sorry, that was a little rant there. I am off the Knicks soapbox.
I want to jump over to Miami because we got some news on that game. You ready for it? So we got Jimmy Butler. He gone. Looks like everybody else is in. This is what I sort of expected to happen.
Sounds good.
Oh,
no, Tyler Hero's playing.
Yeah, Hero's back. So everybody.
Oh, God.
Yeah, they're
why can't he be a hero and take another day off?
No, we need the value tonight. But what are we going to be doing now with Butler out? The projections, they'll all update in about 10 minutes, and the guys behind the scenes will really try to iron it out for everybody. What are we doing? At least on DraftKings, like Duncan Robinson's probably. I mean, dude's on fire. I don't know. I don't know if I could play him tonight. So
I don't think there's any way you play Duncan Robinson at 6K tonight.
Yeah, but like Goran, I think none. Hero is slightly interesting. I don't know how many minutes he's going to get, but I think it's going to be Bam and Dragic is where I'm going to look to on Miami tonight.
I mean, if you're feeling froggy, you might as well jump. Tyler Hero is 3,300. I mean, if he gets 25 minutes here, he could have a performance that you may need. I mean, if you get 25 from Hero at 3,300, I can still take down a GPP with that. I don't mind 25 from Hero at that price. So I like Hero a lot on DK. It's going to be pretty similar on FanDuel. He's not really expensive. He's 3,600. I would like to know how many minutes he was going to play. Like if they say he's going to play.
I got this from the Heat Reporter. This was from yesterday. It doesn't really say anything about minutes, but Tyler Hero could make his return tonight. If he does, the Heat's rotation will expand to 10 and less minutes to go around for everybody. And a quote from Goran Dragic: "We understand everyone has to make some sacrifices this season." So maybe but Butler's also out too. So I don't know really how they're going to get around it tonight. I don't know. Hero's interesting. If Hero has 20 minutes tonight at that price on DraftKings, I think it's pretty nice.
Yeah, man. I mean, I can't really accurately project this minutes. In my head, I feel like he plays 25 because they've got Crowder there who's been playing 30 minutes. They've got Derek Jones Jr. who's been playing close to 30 minutes. Robinson's been playing 30 plus minutes. Nunn and Dragic. I think maybe he plays 25 minutes. And 20 to 25 minutes, I think, is a reasonable expectation for Hero. And at that price, on both sides, really, I think you should definitely consider him.
Yeah, if I gave him 25, and this is also with Jimmy Butler in the projections, right? He's a reasonable value. So we got to see what the team gives him behind the scenes. But I think Hero could really start creeping up in terms of overall value towards the end of the night. Hopefully it doesn't end up being the JaVale McGee at tonight's slate, who, McGee sort of burned me a little bit last night and burned a lot of people because he was pretty highly owned, but hopefully Hero can actually play the minutes tonight.
Yeah.
The other thing we're waiting on as far as news is going to be in Utah is Rudy Gobert. Even if Rudy Gobert plays, his ownership at 10%, I'm literally just going to kick him right out of my build. If he plays, I'm just going to do it right now, but I wanted to leave him up here. There's just something off with him. He's basically doesn't really get there all too often. He takes almost no shots now. He needs the 3 or 4 blocks with he has to hit the double-double, hit a couple of free throws to really get there. I'm not too interested in him. I hope he sits out because that's going to open up a lot of boards for some of these other guys, maybe a couple extra shots. I know you like Mike Conley. How are we going to be approaching the Jazz should Gobert end up sitting out tonight?
If Gobert is up sitting, then I'm still going to be on Conley. I feel like I probably like a guy like Bogdanovich or Ingles a little bit more. Maybe I would bump up a little bit of Donovan Mitchell exposure and play him in 1 or 2 lineups. But to be quite honest with you, man, I'm really only interested in Mike Conley. Even if Gobert sits, Mike Conley is about the only person I really want to play. because I don't feel like anybody else is completely necessary. You will have Tony, the backup center. You will have him available, and he's cheap enough that I think you can consider him, but I don't think he's absolutely necessary. I would still, and we'll get to this game in a minute, I think I'd still play Nicola Melli on DK over Tony Bradley.
I like Melli quite a bit. We got another one too. So while we wrap up sort of all the news over here, let's go back to or go to the Dallas game. We just got DFS. Someone in chat said DFS now questionable. Not us in general, right? Because of the coronavirus, but Dorian Finney-Smith questionable. They're already down Porzingis. This is an 8:00 game. I think an interesting strategy, I think, tonight to be able to maybe, if we don't have all the news ahead of time, this Detroit-Philadelphia game, or we got our Joel Embiid news. You're not really maybe like maybe you're missing out on Wood or thong maker or something like that. But if you skip that game and you go to late swap, you're buying some time, you're getting some news. I don't think that's the worst idea in the world. But if DFS is out tonight too, along with Porzingis out, let's try to make some sense of what's happening in here. Luka, I am taking the stand, right? You like Trey. I'm playing 100 lineups tonight on DraftKings. I am playing 100% Luka. This is just my dude. I'm going all in. He's going to be highly owned. I'm getting leverage. I just see him as basically a almost surefire 50 fantasy points with the ability to hit 60 or 70 with some of these guys out tonight. What are we going to do if DFS is out? Break down some of the center rotation. I think we were probably a little too – I think we toned down Boban's minutes a little bit here, or maybe not. I don't know if Boban sees a ton of time. Willie Cauley-Stein's back. They might run a couple of different centers in there. Make some sense of that rotation outside of Luka.
I think Maxi Kleber is probably going to play 30 to 35-ish minutes. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. I definitely think if any other center gets 25 minutes, I think it's going to be Willie Cauley-Stein. That's just my opinion. I could definitely be wrong about that. Maybe they split him and Boban. I don't think Cauley-Stein or Boban are actually in play for me. And I know they're playing Jokic, but I'd much rather just stick with Kleber. I don't think we have to reach that far down to get the production that we need. If DFS is out, then you got to think Tim Hardaway Jr. is nearing like must play.
He's been really putting it together in recent games too.
Yeah, even at 6,300, he's not a guy I like to play. But if he's going to be playing 38 minutes against Denver, taking probably I would say 18 to 22 shots in this game, Brett, with all these guys out, because you don't have Seth Curry, you don't have Brunson. If DFS is out, man, he's just going to be shooting galore. No KCP. I think Hardaway Jr. and then DeLon Wright, I think, would be sneaky. And I'm not sure what the ownership is on him, but if DFS sits, I feel like DeLon Wright could really, really be a difference maker for this team in the second unit. Maybe get a few more shots up, maybe a few more assists, a steal, a block or something. And before you know it, he's got close to 30 fantasy points. So I'm going to keep my eye on this situation because DeLon Wright may very well end up in my lineups. And I didn't anticipate I was going to be looking at him to start out the day.
Yeah. So what are we going to do, right? So I mentioned this first game of the night, Detroit and Philadelphia. If let's say we don't have news at 6:45, you got to, start to lock your teams in at that point in time, right? What are we going to do with this game in order to maybe maximize leverage on some of the news possibilities on this one? Because we have, Thon Maker at 45%. And I get we're searching for value and he's 3,100 and he can get there, fantasy points per minute from Andy's article today. He's a reasonably good play. I have I had a take pre-show where the difference in Thon Maker and Tony Snell, I know Snell's $700 more, right? But the ownership difference is 45 to 1. Is Thon Maker going to outscore Tony Snell, by like 2 points? 45 out of 46 times. I don't think that's actually possible for basically any NBA player against another NBA player. What's your overall thoughts on Thon? I like Christian Wood, and don't forget, I thought we would have this at 5:30. We're still waiting on some Bruce Brown news. That could open up some minutes here. Are there any must-haves for you in this game?
I feel like the must-haves would probably be Kleber and Luka. I would consider. Well, yeah. As of right now,
I'm back. I'm on Detroit, Philadelphia. Let's go over to that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, you did just mention Bruce Brown. My bad. Man, what a brain fart there, guys. I'm so sorry to do that.
The coronavirus got you.
No, sir. No corona here. But yeah, I think in the Detroit game for me, it's pretty much full steam ahead. Brandon Knight, Christian Wood. I like Thon. I don't love Thon. So he's not a make or break. So for instance, to me, Thon is okay chalk. And so in tournaments, I'm perfectly fine hitting the X button. And, like I said, I would play a Nicola Melli. I would play, I would replace that savings and maybe play Tyler Hero at a similar price point, just in a different spot, to possibly get similar lineup construction. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at there. Jordan McRae is still cheap enough, I feel like. I wish he was getting 25 to 30 minutes, but he's done it a couple of times. Maybe we squeeze him in. We just haven't seen the same upside he had in Washington, but we know it's there. So I think I'd be willing to take a risk on guys like that.
We got to see. Thon is currently tied for the second highest projected owned player on the slate. And I know it's because he's 3,100, but that is. I'm probably not going to be at the field. I just set my max at 25%. I might even lower that post show. Just not someone I'm all too interested in. I do have a rule, I think, not to play Thon or Tony Snell in sort of the same lineup. Not that anyone's really trying to get Tony Snell into lineups tonight but me. But I have a little bit of interest in Snell just as sort of a leverage off a Thon maker. I know it costs a little bit more. But he's interesting. And, of course, Christian Wood, I know he's going up against Embiid, which is going to be a little tough, but he's out here posting. We knew as soon as he was going to get minutes, he was going to post this ultra-consistent fantasy point game. He's basically been unstoppable in the high 30s to mid to high 40s every single night. Do you see any reason to not want to play him tonight, even though he's going up against Embiid?
I don't think so, man. Wood has been consistent, and I think he's going to be fine. I think he plays probably more minutes than Embiid anyway. At some point he won't be on the floor with Embiid. He's been playing, 32-ish to 38 minutes in certain situations. So he's not going to be on the floor with him all the time. I think Wood is going to be just fine tonight.
Yeah. And Michael in chat, Embiid's playing against Thon. Thon got to have 2 fouls in the first quarter. Yeah, dude, there's a lot of ways for Thon, in my opinion, to bust tonight. And if I can find, his smash percentage, just 23%, yet ownership at 37%. So when you see these ultra high owned guys that are really underweight their smash that aren't superstars, like guys like Luka and things like that, those are interesting spots to maybe get away from, in my opinion. So I'm going to be underweight on Thon tonight. If he kills me, he kills me, but he's going to be in 35, 40, 45% of lineup, something like that tonight. So that's just a little bit of a stance I'm taking. And then Philadelphia with Embiid in, do you really the peripheral pieces I'm a little bit lower on, right? Earlier in the day, we had Josh Richardson. We had him as one of the higher owned plays. That's sort of come down now that we have confirmation that Embiid's going to play. We're not really messing around with the shakes. Maybe Richardson because he's still a little bit too cheap, but Tobias and Horford, these guys, I think I'm jumping off the bandwagon. It's also pretty clear. It looks like the field is as well tonight, right? We have pretty low projected ownership on them. What are you doing with some of the extra guys in that first game?
I kind of said this, I think, maybe on the pod. I hope I did. If I didn't, please forgive me. But now that Embiid's playing, I don't want to play anybody else on Philly. I just don't see everybody's priced up now, like he's going to be out. So I do still think Josh Richardson is okay. Like he's probably about the only guy that's priced okay. But I still don't feel the need to play him. So the only guy I'm playing from Philly tonight would be Joel Embiid. I wouldn't play a single other Sixers player. Just wouldn't do it.
All right. Donnie wants to get to the highest total on the board. That is the Pelicans Sacramento. Donnie, we are a man of the people here on Grinders Live, but only if you click the like button will we talk about this game. So go click that. If all you guys are watching on YouTube, we appreciate it. It helps us bring you Grinders Live for free, gives you that pregame show for free during the day, and a lot of other stuff. So it helps support us and gets you free content here on Rotogrinders. So let's go to this game. And I don't know, pick a couple of plays. We mentioned Melly. I guess we'll talk about some of the higher fantasy point totals first here. So we've got De'Aaron Fox, who hasn't really flashed a ceiling in, I don't know, like 15 games or something like that. He always gets there, but he never gets like over there, if you know what I'm saying there.
Yeah.
7,800. The price is okay. It's, hovering around where it's been. He's reasonably priced on FanDuel as well. What's your take on him? He's coming in as the highest owned player from this game.
Yeah, I like him. Don't love him. I mean, we're looking at the ownership right now, and I feel like I may be able to get a similar performance out of Chris Paul today. And, for me, if I'm trying to leverage a little bit of ownership, a guy that's around 30%, it's not like I wouldn't play him at all. It has nothing to do with that, but I feel like him and Chris Paul have similar, ranges of outcomes. And so, if you pull up Chris Paul's ownership, you're going to see he's a lot lower owned.
I don't understand why De'Aaron Fox is so highly owned today, I guess. If this holds true.
It's the matchup. Listen.
I know it is, right. You just mentioned Chris Paul, and Chris Paul's ownership is, let's see, we're Mr. CP3. He's down at 4%.
Look where he's at.
I got Lonzo Ball in the same freaking game who's dropping 50 a night. Right, who's shown the ceiling?
Correct.
He's at 2%, and you got Drew Holiday in the same game. Give me all those guys ownership wise over Fox today, and that's a pretty easy decision.
Yeah. Now I'm not as interested in Drew. I don't care that Drew's dropping 60s. I'm not playing Drew over 8K with all these guys playing, and that's just a personal decision. That's not an industry decision. That's just something.
I'm playing Drew.
Yeah, so that's something I've decided to do. The same reason I don't play DeMar DeRozan over 8K. It's just rules I have to protect myself from the end of the night blues when I knew I shouldn't have taken a player that I felt was slightly overpriced. At any rate, those are kind of the guys I'm looking at. I've talked enough about Melly. I think you guys know that, especially on DK, I'm really interested in him as a value play tonight. I wish I could play Josh Hart, but I just don't think
he got the X. He got the X for me. He's gone.
Yeah. You just can't do it. So that's kind of where I'm at there. But yeah, those are the guys, man. Lonzo, I don't mind. I know he's 200 cheaper than Drew, but I just feel like Lonzo's been kind of getting there in multiple ways. Some games he's scoring, some games he's not. But you look up at the end of the night, he's still getting there. I think the big thing here is, what are we going to do with Zion 7,800? I feel like Zion is a mid-30s player. I don't feel like Zion is a 40 to 50 point, DFS player every night. I'm willing to take the fade on Zion as well. With everyone healthy, though, and that's the key. With everyone healthy, I'm willing to take the fade on him. So even though this game has such a high total, I don't feel the need to play all these guys. One or two pieces. I'm going to sit on this New York Atlanta game and more pieces from Dallas and see if I can win it there. I'd
take Ingram over Zion. I'd take Ball and Drew over Fox straight up in tournaments tonight. So those are and you can see I sort of if our projected ownership holds, I just went overweight on Ball and Drew. I made myself. We've got 30% ownership on Fox. I'm going to set a max at 15%. Maybe I'll even lower that to like 12 or something. I think those are some easy swerves. You mentioned CP3. He's at 4%. I'm going to make sure I get a little bit more than that. And I got to take in this game too. We have SGA at 25% ownership because he's 6,300, right? And that is coming in as a top 10 highest owned player on the slate today. And I'm going to try to get a little bit of leverage there. I've reduced his ownership to 15. And Schroeder was a little lower earlier in the day. So Schroeder is 100 less than SGA. And it's 4 out of 5 times basically on the ownership that SGA is going to outperform Schroeder. And that is nonsense to me. I think it's a little bit closer to 50-50, maybe a little bit higher in SGA's favor, but it should not be like 5-1 on the ownership So I'm playing Schroeder as a leverage off SGA. What do you think about that? And then let's talk about Chris Paul as well.
Yeah, I like that call. I mean, I think it's probably 60-40 SGA Schroeder. I mean, that's kind of how I have it broken down in my head. So, I mean, I totally get that. And people just, they haven't been playing Schroeder all year. He's a guy I've tracked, whenever I get him under 5K, which is not under 5K today, but I just start loading up on him because I know he's, the upside game is coming. So, yeah, I mean, I get the SGA ownership, but I do, like you said, I think Dennis Schroeder being, a fourth of that is just crazy. So, I'm with you. Chris Paul, man, one of my favorite point guards on the slate tonight. And mainly because of the ownership and the consistency. Yeah. He's flashed upside, and very rarely will he not get you 35. Rarely. So, when you're looking at his ownership at 4% on DK, 9% on FanDuel, and like we've already talked about, because of the matchup, I totally get it. You're getting De'Aaron Fox at, 20 times that. Well, not 20, but, astronomically higher. I just think Chris Paul is great leverage today, and could really, if he puts up 45, he's right in the mix to help you take out the GPP.
And especially because you're going to be the only person with CP3 today. So I want to point out a couple of groups I made on players I'm talking about. In OKC, right? No, sort of like I had with, where's the other one I had up here? I forgot anyway, but no more than 2 of SGA, CP3, and Schroeder. Sort of like the Hawks guards, right? If all the Hawks peripheral pieces can't really get there, you don't really want to, if you're MMEing, any more than 2 of them in the same lineup. So that's a little rule I did for some of those guys out there. The other sort of leverage spot I was taking today, I mentioned on Thon. Who was another guy I had to take on? I had one more I wanted to talk about. Yeah, I already hit on that one. So let's go. Let's go to Charlotte. Who is it? Terry Rozier. He's questionable, right? So we don't know if he's going to play. What are we doing? It's against Miami. They're ultra slow. Some of these guys had, really fell on their face, like PJ Washington, where, who was it? Caleb Martin had himself the good game last time out.
Yes. What
are we going to do? Like an if Rozier out, then what are we doing?
Maybe Devontae Graham, maybe one of the Martin twins. I am officially done with, and Charlotte's my hometown team. Mm-hmm. I'm officially done trying to peg these guys. Miles Bridges, his minutes are trending in the wrong direction. They brought Dwayne Waken back from the G League, didn't play him. We've got this weird thing going where Cody Zeller plays 4 or 5 games, then he's not playing, then Bismack. So I'm just off Charlotte today, man. I don't care if Rozier sits. I'm not going to have a lot of guys from Charlotte. Not going to think about it too long and hard. I get Cody and Caleb. I don't mind those two because of the prices. I feel like they're cheap enough to still consider. Maybe Jalen McDaniels as well. But I don't want to play anybody over 5K from this team. I mean, they could easily just play 10 minutes and burn me.
Yeah, if Rozier's out, I'll take another long look at it. And you can sort of see the field currently right now. No one's over 10%, even on a 6-game slate. So no one's really on them. If Terry plays, right, both Terry and Graham, I think they have a little bit of a ceiling, but it's still tough to get there against Miami today. I don't mind them as basically your one low-owned play in a lineup. But other than that, I guess I'm sort of like you, not really targeting Charlotte too much. Of course, unless Terry sits, then I'll reassess.
Yeah.
Couple other things we wanted to talk about from you guys in Discord. I know we've got the YouTube chat up, but sometimes in Discord, you guys want to talk to us. And a couple of you wanted to talk DraftKings tiers today, right? So I won't spend a ton of time, but maybe about like 2-3 minutes.
Hey, man, that's for our boy Yappy Cappy. He said, man, let's go over some tiers.
Yeah, so we're going to talk a couple of tiers here. DraftKings has tournaments for these too. They fill a little bit earlier in the day. It's a little bit way to differentiate, especially if you don't have a lot of time. What did you come up with some tiers research today? At the front, right? It's Luka and Trey. I don't think I'd waste a single entry on Jokic today. How would you allocate between Luka and Trey?
Well, yeah, we did kind of talk about that, and that's something we talked about before the show. For me, I'm full steam ahead with Trey. I would have more Luka shares, but you got to think Trey is going to be slightly lower owned. I'd probably go, and I know I said 25. I'd probably go 25 to 30% on Trey tonight in the tier section because what if Trey scores 65 and Luka scores 58? Then Trey's going to be your guy. So I think I would really pump up my ownership there on Trey, not necessarily replacing Luka, but just saying, hey, I'm going all in on these two guys in this tier one and hoping that I can connect with the right combination.
Here's what I'd do. I would lock Trey, just like I'm doing in regular DFS in my 100 lineups. I'm playing 100% Trey Young tonight. Next one, it's Bam, or basically John Collins. I think Tobias is another guy I wouldn't really spend too much interest on in the tiers. Bam or Collins, that one's pretty close. I think I might lean – man, that is really close. You got the matchup, but then you got the slow pace for Bam with Butler out.
Yeah, I mean, see, on this one's a little bit tougher for me because I do still feel like Bam has more upside in this spot, but I might go all in on Bam on this one. I mean, with no Butler, at least I know Collins has a little bit more help. Not that Bam doesn't have help at all, but he should seemingly kind of be the guy. I think I'd probably be about close to all in on Bam as it possibly could be.
What do you got for a differentiator in any of these other tiers? You got something good?
Oh, let's go back to tier four. Tier four.
All right.
Here we go. Your differentiator. Who do you think is going to be?
Well, you got CP3. I like Lonzo. I probably wouldn't play Fox.
Yeah, I would straight up X out Fox and Gobert for sure. Like those guys would be gone. I just wouldn't touch Fox tonight. He's popular in regular DFS. I think we just leave it at Randall, Ball, and CP3 and go from there. And I will probably almost even it out. Like I'd probably go, 35, 30 or 33, 33, 34, something like that. And just kind of balance it out. I think the differentiator there is just not playing Fox at all. Just X him out.
Yeah, these are fun. You can see, I'm backing up my Lonzo love. I got him about 2 full fantasy points over our projection. I'm going to make sure I get myself some Lonzo today. I'd take Lonzo and probably your boy CP3 tonight. If maybe Randall too. I think Randall burnt people last night like me. And it always, what have you done for me lately? I don't know if Randall draws all the ownership that he sort of should tonight. So there's a couple of you guys were asking about tiers in the Discord. So we gave you a couple differentiators. I would lock Luka. Will would mix in some Trey Young and that tier 4. We got a couple guys I think will be a little bit off the board for you there.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Let's see here. I want a couple of – let's see here. Let me go through the center position on – if you're MMEing, right, something you got to be cognizant of is the groups. So, I'm MMEing tonight and made some groups. Is there any specific ones, a couple ones that stand out to me, right? Don't play Zeller and Biyombo in the same lineup. If, very unlikely, they're only on the court when the other one's off. One runs hot, the other one ain't playing. Make sure if they're in your pool, you only play one of them. Sort of like Willie Cauley-Stein and Boban, too. I'm probably going to get one, if not both of these guys out of my lineups or out of my builds by the time it's all said and done. But Boban went up to 25% on DraftKings. I think that's pretty ludicrous ownership on Boban right now.
Man, don't mention that to Grant. I hope he's not watching this show.
Sorry about that.
Gosh.
I'm going to be underweight on Boban tonight with Willie Cauley-Stein back.
Yeah, I mean, I would have 0 shares of Boban. I mean, I know the potential is there. But listen, we don't know what Rick Carlisle is going to do tonight. Yeah. I mean, look, if you're running 150 like Britt Devine here, I mean, I get it. But if you're in 3-entry max, 5-entry max, just don't. I wouldn't risk a lineup playing Boban today.
Yeah, a couple Jeremy Grant and Millsap. Don't play those two together. Not a lot of people will be playing them anyway. And then Melly and Favors, right? I think you can make a case. Favors is actually I think he's pretty reasonable low-owned play tonight. Just don't play him with Melly in the same lineup because those are guys, one's on the court, one's off. And if one's hot, the other one probably isn't going to play. So just think about things like that if you're MMEing and especially when you're hand-building teams as well. But just wanted to throw out a couple of rules I had out there tonight. What do you guys have for questions in chat? Any specific games you want us to talk about? We didn't really talk too much about Denver. They're basically, what you're getting. I don't have a ton of interest in Denver. I think Harris is starting to put together some good games. I think he's halfway reasonable at 4,500, specifically at 1% ownership. If he gets you 28 tonight at 4,500, that's good enough to get you there in a tournament, in my opinion. Other than that, Jokic with the other high-end talent on the slate, right? He doesn't really – I don't think if you get 51 out of Jokic tonight – I don't even know if that's going to be enough, because I think Luka gets 60, Trey can get 60. I'm not really on Jokic tonight. What's your take? I liked Jokic when Plumlee was out and he was getting like 36, 37 minutes. And I'm just a little off Jokic with Plumlee back, and it's sort of showing in the fantasy performances right now.
Yeah, I mean, and not only Plumlee, we had Millsap that was out for a while too, which I think contributed to him playing a lot more minutes. And I know we saw some Michael Porter and we saw a little bit more Jeremy Grant, but I'm with you, man. I don't think I can play Jokic today. I think I'm just going to go full fade on him as well, and hope he doesn't drop a 60 burger and mess up my earnings.
So someone quotes Donnie Watson, the projections really like none now, and the ownership projection is not caught up, right? So when you're up here, right, the fantasy points were updated right now, literally just now. Well, the projected ownership, it's really hard to do that every time someone's in and out. So it usually hits around like 6:30. You could check back on that. And he's probably working on it right now, actually. So Nunn's ownership is going to skyrocket from 1%. If you sort by point per dollar on the entire slate, he's currently the second highest point per dollar, but behind Thon Maker and sandwiched in between Boban, who I already mentioned. I'm not as thrilled on Boban as I think other people will be tonight. What do you think Nunn's ownership gets to? Is he worth playing tonight against Charlotte? I say yes, very consistent. If he was like 53 or 5,400, I would be a little bit less enthusiastic on him. But at 4,800, I think his price is pretty good on DraftKings.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's okay. I don't hate the price at all. Same thing for FanDuel. He's 4,600. I will say this, though. I do still think leverage on him is going to be Goran Dragic. If his ownership, if Nunn's ownership is creeping up, I'm going to assume he's going to creep up into the 20s, 20 to 30s, which means Dragic is probably going to be, maybe 8 to 12%, I would say, just right at the top of my head. So, Dragic is a guy that I would probably mix in a little bit more than Nunn. And now that Nunn is the new shiny toy, it just means people are going to forget about Brandon Knight playing over there in Detroit, in my opinion, which would possibly lower Brandon Knight's ownership, which means I'm going to be a lot more intrigued now to get a few Brandon Knight shares in there, because both of these guys are essentially in the same matchup, pretty much. It's not much of a difference. So, you've got Brandon Knight at 49, which isn't much more, and now I'm anticipating that his ownership is going to be a lot less. I think he's good leverage.
So I just, I put in a couple of my percentages. I'll have to fine tune this afterwards. And currently the projections, basically, if I didn't limit Kendrick Nunn, I would probably have close to 100% Kendrick Nunn. I'm definitely playing 100% Luka. That's definitely a stand I'm taking today. I've got to get a lot lower on Boban. He's someone I'll probably drop. I might just straight X Boban out of my teams tonight. Based off, you can see my screen here. Do you see anybody here that, at least off the Rotogrinders projections, is projected to be pretty highly owned that you'd be underweight on? Like, we've got Elf, who's, I think he can probably get there tonight. I think he's pretty interesting, but I want to play Elf when he's like 4% owned, right, and has 45, not when he's 25 or 30% owned. So he's someone I might lower my exposure to. I'm getting a lot of Steven Adams and Nerlens Noel. I'm going to have to do some tinkering here, Will.
Yeah, man. I don't like the Adams as much, but I get it. He's 50. Isn't Adams around 5,600 today?
Yeah, he is cheap.
So yeah, I mean, I don't mind that exposure at that price, because I mean, if he gets 32, 33ish, I mean, now he's at that point where you're starting to think maybe GPP takedown if he hits in the right combo. So I don't mind that. I think for me, I would for sure hit the X button on Boban today. I would, obviously I know you're not going to do that, but I think for me, I would for sure be hitting the X button on Boban. A very volatile player at 30%, 28, whatever it was. X button immediately, because we don't even know if he's going to play 10 minutes. He could play 8 minutes. He could still get 20 fantasy points in 8 minutes, but it's not as likely. So for me, that's kind of where I am, in terms of what I see right off the top of my head. I think I'd probably give myself a little bit more Goran Dragic. Even though we're at 18, I'd probably be around 25. If I was going heavy, I'd be around 25 on Dragic today.
Currently projected at 2, but that was without the. Let's see. Usually it hits right about now. Let's see. Look how good I am. I know Jamino's working in the background, right? I said it was going to refresh right about now. Boom, 606 it refreshed. So the latest ownership's up. Let's take a look at this. So none has catapulted to the highest owned player on the slate.
Hey, X button. X button.
No, I don't know.
I'm telling you.
I'm not doing an X button. I think Dragic got way up there too.
He did.
Can you play Dragic and none in the same lineup? I think you can. I'm not.
Yeah, you can. I mean, the X button is a little bit of an exaggeration, but my point is this. Kendrick Nunn is not guaranteed to go for 30 fantasy points. He's not – like, we've seen Kendrick Nunn just get 20 fantasy points, 19 fantasy points, and then everybody's mad at the end of the night when you've got other guys in similar situations. And that's kind of the ownership game you play, do I want Nunn or do I want Knight? Brandon Knight, in my opinion, is going to have the same opportunity, equal minutes. I'd definitely be overweight still on I don't even know if I go overweight on Dragic now, because now he's in the 30s. I'd probably bump up my hero exposure is what I would do.
I want to go to Charlotte because Terry Rozier's out. So there's someone who's already clicked all the buttons for me, so I was able to get this. It looks like Cody Zeller sees a nice bump. His usage goes down, so you got to be careful on these, right? So when you see a player's usage go down, but his fantasy points go up, first you got to look at the minutes, right? It's just 58 minutes, so I'm probably not reading too much into Zeller in this particular one. But we've got Devontae Graham at basically 4 fantasy points more per 36 with the highest sample on the team, right? With a bump in usage, basically everything across the board. It's a lot of points, almost 4.5 points more per game. So everything else falls off, but he scores more points with Rozier in this particular situation. So I think Graham's pretty interesting. You see the Martins have a little bit of a bump here today.
Yeah, I'm going to assume Cody's going to start, and Graham will just move the point guard. That's my assumption.
I do like Devontae Graham a little bit today, and one of the Martins, whichever one jumps into the starting lineup, I think is pretty good. I wouldn't read too much into the Zeller, but I still think Zeller, they don't want to play him more than like these 22, 23 minutes, something like that. I'm expecting him to start just the price, right? When he was like 39 and 43, it was nice. When he's 47, I would probably take a pass on him today. Not all too interested. In fact, here's what I'm going to do. Not all too interested in Mr. Cody Zeller. He gone. I'm not going to play any Cody Zeller. My 100 lineups. I just don't think.
Not today, Satan. Not today.
I just don't think, right? He's 47. Can he give me 32 tonight? Like, that's an absolute best case. And I know he's low owned, but not too interested in him. But I'm going to like Devontae Graham, and you're going to have to wait for the ownership to update to really be able to sort of leverage that in your lineups and things like that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Cody or Caleb? The chat wants to know. Which one are you talking about?
Cody.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty
Yeah. Cody's probably going to play 30 to 35 minutes tonight. I feel pretty comfortable. He's already been playing pretty much 30 minutes.
People want to know on Tony Bradley. So if Gobert out, so Gobert, let me backtrack here. So Gobert missed. Let's go game log hunting here. When did he miss? He missed the 25th and the 23rd of November. Let's go find. Where's Bradley? Is he still? All right. Let's go find him in here. And let's see if Tony Bradley played any extra minutes in those games.
Let's check it out.
He played 23 minutes in one and 21 minutes in the other, with 30 and 26 fantasy points. One against the Pelicans, one against the Bucks.
Yeah.
If Gobert out, I think you can play Tony Bradley, and I would 100% in that particular situation play him over the Bobans of the world without question.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But if Gobert's in, Tony Bradley does not exist on any of my teams tonight. So that is something. That's something, right? You can plan. You can try to plan for these things too, because we might not know. So you can play. You can, like, if you wanted to be able to possibly take advantage of it, you can just play Gobert's at 1%. Just put 15% Gobert in your lineups, right? And then even if Gobert plays, you can just X him out and you can rebuild your lineups. And then if he doesn't, you get Tony Bradley and you get to upgrade, right? You'll probably know this by 7:30, right? So now you can get Trey and Luka, and you can get Chris Paul that Will liked, or you can get Lonzo Ball onto your other teams with Tony Bradley, right? So there's ways to set it up, thinking about MME to be able to take advantage of it. Because the worst thing is if you don't have, you really can't take advantage of it because of how your lineups are set up. That's the worst. So think about things like that when you're making teams. I might actually force in some Rudy Gobert if we don't have that news, just to sort of be able to do something like that.
Yeah.
How much Adebayo would you have now? JSU has him tagged, and he is at 9% ownership.
Oh, I'm all in on Bam.
JSU got him tagged. JSU got him tagged too. All in, right?
I'm all in on Bam for sure. No way. I mean, listen, and I think I talked about this on the pod anyway. Bam was in play whether Jimmy Butler was in or out. He was already in play. So now that Jimmy Buckets is on the shelf, man, give me all the Bam. Bam and Julius Randle are my two favorite power forwards tonight in terms of just what I feel like is from a raw points perspective. I know Maxi's out there. I'm telling you right now, in my main team, I'm going to have to fade Maxi. I'm playing Bam and Julius together, and hopefully that gives me a little bit of differentiation. I think people are going to play both, but I think they're going to play Maxi with one or the other. I'm playing them both together, and hopefully that gives me the upside I need to take this thing down.
Don't forget, guys, click the like button on YouTube. We would appreciate it. And also don't forget, I've said this for, I think, like 3 or 4 years on all these Rotogrinders shows. Rotogrinders Premium, the value you get with it. I think I'm spoiled, right? Because I've had it for the low price of $350 for a long time, because I've been with Rotogrinders for a long time. But this stuff, it should be like $100 a month in my opinion, between Lineup HQ and the articles, and we got baseball coming up with Plate IQ, and like, I don't know why, like Results DB, it shouldn't be free, right? But hey, support us, right? Get Rotogrinders Premium. You can have all this stuff. You get all the sports, PGA, XFL, NFL, basketball. It's all coming in one. You get baseball coming up here, just $39.99 a month. I think it's a great value. Like I said, I'm spoiled because I've had it for $350 for a long time behind the scenes. But probably the best value. If I can guarantee you, Will, if I was not at Rotogrinders, I would buy myself Rotogrinders Premium the next day. I can almost guarantee.
Well, listen, I haven't been at Rotogrinders for 20 years.
Yeah.
And so I have actually, but what I would do when I wasn't an employee of such a great company, by the way, listen, guys, Roto is one of the best companies to work for. I'd never leave this place to go to a competitor. I can say that confidently. They know why. This company knows why they're so great. At any rate, I have paid for premium before, but I would just buy it for the year. And that way I got all the sports. I didn't have to worry about it. And so, now that I'm here, I'm able to kind of toot the horn a little bit more.
Just to have Lineup HQ, I literally just stare at it 24/7 every single day.
Yes.
But yeah, I wanted to give props to everyone at Rotogrinders that works hard behind the scenes to give you all this stuff, that works so hard on it. And I think it's a great value if you're looking for something around the industry. Give it a shot. Pope, what are you having? How many? What do you want to do, Pope? How many teams you want to make here, right? So a couple of tricks, right? If first thing you want to do, if you're having issues in Lineup HQ, prioritize lineups over max exposures. Maybe you got a little bit too close. I always leave it unchecked because I'm a master, right? I know exactly what I'm doing But if you're ever having trouble, try clicking that. Maybe that'll help you yourself make some lineups. If not, reduce your exposures. Make sure your salary sliders are right, and that should sort of get you on the right track.
Man, Britt, that's another one too, man. Let me give out a little bit of game strategy since we don't really have too many questions.
What you got?
So for me, when I'm playing like regular slates, I'm always going to have a gap of about $1,000. That's just my thing, right? For those of you out there that are really in the showdown, like I'm really in the showdown single game. Like I love that those types of slates. Listen, just go ahead and back your salary, especially on FanDuel. Back your salary at about $3,000 on the table, and you'll end up with just some unique combinations. You know, if you're wondering how these guys take these things down, sometimes it's just a salary play. You know, you have, instead of spending all the way up, you take a guy like Seth Curry to outscore Tim Hardaway, who's, just on a normal slate. Let's say Tim Hardaway's 10K and Seth Curry's, 7K, and you just leave the 3K on the table. And if Tim Hardaway had, wets the bed and Seth Curry goes off for 30, then you left 3K on the table and you took it down solo. Mm-hmm. And so that's just for showdown exclusively. You really want to make sure you leave that $2,000 to $3,000 gap to really get unique across your lineups.
It sounds like you were watching the oh my goodness, Roto Academy show I did with the Showdown Master himself.
You know what? I did not watch that show, but I did not. But me and Big T, we've talked a few times off the cuff, man, especially during the playoffs, about how we're going to approach things. And, so I think overall, me and Big T think alike for DFS. We're not going to agree on everything, but I think our thought process is similar.
Yeah, guys, if you have Rotogrinders Premium, the other thing, Roto Academy, I kind of host those on a variety of different topics. I think we got like 6 or 7 different versions of it out for NBA. You can go find those, and basically you can sit there and learn from Big T and Squirrel Patrol and a couple others. I'm on there on all of them, and you got Blender on there too, right? Just talking different strategies on different slates, on different games, on different topics to help you become a better player, right? Just everyone knows, hey, right, Luka, he's in a good spot tonight. He's going to get 60. But becoming a better DFS player to be able to continue winning, Results DB, Roto Academy, game theory, all that extra type of stuff is what helps you be a profitable player. And today we got you covered here at Rotogrinders. All right, Chief, I think that's going to about do it. All the people out there, stay safe from the coronavirus. It's going everywhere. Stay indoors, right? Play DFS, be safe, eat your soup, don't go outside. Have good time with that. Will, you stay safe too. I think we got a couple more shows this month, so always fun hanging out with you.
Absolutely.
I'm Britt. Stay tuned for Crunch Time coming up next, guys, and we out ya.